Welcome! It's Zeus to the Global Peace Project, and this is a more of a question for anybody who's watching. I know people watch it who don't even reply and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. I appreciate you. And this one here's on the formula for manifestation. I was wondering if anybody had anything they could add to it. And so Ct+a equals M, which is conscious thought plus action equals manifestation, right? So is there anything extra to it? And I was thinking about certain things that have happened in my life that the manifestations basically happened. It's kind of funny, there's an echo in here. I cleaned, and there's an echo inside my apartment, which is kind of funny. It's kind of cool. So here's a couple episodes that I had in my life that kind of worked out. One time I was over in Australia. This is when I was 17, and my friend Steve, it was on a Easter weekend. It was a 4-day weekend, and I said to him, why don't you drop me off in the rainforest and I'll do a Rambo thing. I'll live out there and then come back and pick me up. Well, he drops me off. I got my gun, I got matches, I've got a knife. I'm gonna make my own thing. I didn't even have a backpack or anything like that. It was just me and I must have had a bag or something like that to carry the rifle in. But so I'm out there. I shoot a rabbit. I prepare it to eat it, and I'm gonna cook it. Right? My matches got wet. This is before lighters. Never seen a lighter before, other than like Zippos and stuff like that. And I didn't possess one of those at 17. And I'm deep in the rainforest over in Australia. I don't even know exactly where it was, but it was outside of Melbourne. It was about a 3-hour drive. And I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to eat the rabbit raw. So I ate some of it, and I was like, this ain't happening. So I just basically packed my stuff up, and I thought, well, I got to get out of here, because there ain't no way I'm going to survive. So I started moving my way out of the rainforest, and I ran into a fellow that was working on his property. So I went over and started talking to him. He said, well, if you help me, I'll give you a ride home. And I said, okay. So I helped him, and then bang, he drops me off where I live in Melbourne. A 3-hour drive. I definitely wouldn't have been able to walk out of there. And actually in Australia, in the rainforest, when it gets dark, you can touch your eyeball. That's how dark it gets. And I have another episode in my life when I was here in Indiana. I got arrested for a fraudulent check because I'd been selling windows and doors. It was the first weekend that I'd sold these windows and doors after I did my training. And we went out to, it's called, it's a little outside of Bloomington, Bedford. We went out to Bedford, and the first night I sold $27,000 worth of product, which meant I would have made about $2,000, $2,000, $3,000, 30% of my sales on the following week. I didn't have any money, right? I was, how old was I at the time? 23, 24 years of age. And everything canceled on me on Monday. I wrote a check to Walmart for $400. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get some food and get some clothes so I can actually sell more stuff. Anyway, all of them canceled. I didn't have enough money for diddly squat. I had a car, but as a result, I got arrested for a fraudulent check. And they basically shipped me all the way out to Bedford, which is about, I don't know, 90 100 miles away from where I lived. And sure enough, they sent me to court, and then they released me in Bedford. And there was nobody I could call. It's before cell phones or anything like that. And the only thing I could do is, like, I was hungry, so I stopped by this restaurant, and I said, hey, you got dishes I can wash? I would like to get some food, maybe some money for smokes. And the lady goes, oh, honey, just sit down. And she got a grilled cheese sandwich for me and some tomato soup, and she threw down $5 so I could buy a pack of cigarettes. And I headed out to the main street, which would have been 135, put my thumb out, and this van pulls right over. I mean, I'm less than 5 minutes of putting my thumb out. Van pulls over, they opened up the big door, and they said, come on in. Where are you going? I said, Indianapolis. Well, they drove me all the way home, plus they fed me the entire way. It was kind of amazing. So they drove me all the way to Indianapolis and dropped me off at my house. Now, these are kind of interesting experiences, but it was a conscious thought, and I thought my way to being where I wanted to be. Because it happened just that quick, because I put forth some effort. Then we'll go into later on, the same thing happens throughout there. If you've got a thought and an intention that you want, and you feel it in your heart, and there's nothing standing between you actually getting it and possessing it, relax, breathe, see it, and then move with your actions to it. And then everything in the world folds and bends to the reality that you have in your mind, as long as there's no contradicting thoughts. And as a person develops contradicting thoughts, these seem to be the one items that will keep you away from that which you want most. So it's kind of interesting, but the reality of life seems to come as quickly as you unfold and allow it to be, because that which you want wants you to. So they've been telling me. Anyway, I appreciate your time. I would really love if there's any extras I need to add to it. Conscious thought plus action equals manifestation. What do you think?